You don't talk anymore. Not in weeks, maybe even months. No texts, no calls. She doesn't watch your stories. But somehow, she's still there, in your head, every day. From the moment you wake up to when you fall asleep. You don't ask for her back. You're trying to move on. But then the world goes quiet. And there she is. Her face, that feeling. And it hits you. Not because you miss her, but because you don't understand why she's still in your mind. That silence between you two is louder than anything. And maybe it's time you understood what it really means. This isn't just for the guy who misses someone. It's for the man who doesn't even want her back, but still can't stop thinking about her. You keep saying you're fine, but deep down, you're stuck, and no one ever told you why. Support this channel if you're ready to stop just surviving and start evolving. Your support helps this message reach the men who need it most. You're not alone in this. Let's build something stronger, something real. Why you can't forget her. It's not just heartbreak. Let's stop pretending it's about her, because it's not. What you're really battling is insecurity. Yeah, not the loud, obvious kind, the quiet kind. The one hiding behind your ambition, your confidence, your I'm fine mask. The one she saw when she got too close. Deep down, you didn't believe you deserved her. That's why you never felt safe. That's why every time she came closer, you pulled back or pushed too hard. And she felt it. She noticed. She saw you trying to impress her more than connect. She saw you trying to control the outcome because you didn't think just being you would be enough. So she left. And now, you're not just hurt. You're humiliated, not out loud, but in the silence that echoes when no one's around. What you're holding on to isn't just her. It's the wound she left behind, because her absence confirms something you were too afraid to admit. That deep down, you still don't believe you're enough. And her presence, that was the only proof you had that maybe, just maybe, you were finally worth something. Here's the truth. When someone leaves, our minds don't just grieve them. They grieve the version of us we built around them, the identity we shaped with them in the picture. And when they're gone, we're left trying to remember who we were before, or worse, wondering if we were ever enough to begin with. You hoped you were finally strong enough, desirable enough, grounded enough. But when she left, it wasn't just a breakup, it was an emotional collapse, a deep, subconscious reminder. You're still not the man you thought you were becoming. That's why you can't forget her. Not because she was the one, but because her exit exposed everything you still haven't faced. The doubt, the need for validation, the fear of being left behind. She didn't just break your heart. She shattered the illusion that you were ready. So instead of confronting that truth, you replay the past like it still holds answers. You keep her alive in your thoughts, because it's easier than facing the insecurity that pushed her away. Let's get even more honest. You weren't fully you with her. You were a curated version, a version you thought would keep her interested. You avoided vulnerability. You avoided hard conversations. You led with the desire to be liked, not with the strength of who you really are. And she felt it. Because women feel energy more than they hear words. She picked up on the hesitation, the emotional fragility behind the surface confidence. And when a woman like that senses instability, she doesn't always run. First, she tests, she challenges, she pushes, not to break you, but to see if you'll rise. And when you didn't, she disconnected. That's why it hurts so much now. Because deep down, you failed a test you didn't even realize you were taking. So stop telling yourself she was the one. She wasn't. She was the one who revealed that you're not the one for yourself yet. You're still moving from fear, from lack, from a need to prove, instead of a drive to become. You don't need closure with her. You need confrontation with you. The mind holds on to what feels unfinished. If she's still living rent-free in your thoughts, it's not magic. It's identity. Your confidence, your manhood, your sense of worth, you tied it to her validation. She became the symbol of your unfinished self. And your mind is begging you, finish it or break. This is why forgetting her doesn't work, because your mind doesn't want to forget. It wants to redeem. You don't just want to move on, you want to win the battle you lost when she left. But the win doesn't come from getting her back. It comes from becoming the man who would never lose her to begin with, the man who doesn't chase because he knows he attracts, the man who doesn't panic because he's grounded, the man who doesn't obsess because he's too busy building something bigger than any woman could ever offer. So, if she's still on your mind, it's time to stop romanticizing the past and start rising into the man you were always meant to be. You're still thinking about it, still searching for meaning. Good. That means your work isn't done yet. You've been telling yourself you lost her. That's the story you keep playing on repeat. It's what you tell your friends when they ask, "What happened?" It's what you whisper to yourself when your chest tightens at 2 a.m. But that's not the real story. The truth? It's harder to admit. You didn't lose her. You lost yourself. Not the version of you that clocks in for work. Not the one who smiles in photos and laughs at parties. You lost the man you were becoming when she was around. And here's the part that stings the most. You liked that man. He had fire. He had hunger. He had this quiet confidence that things were finally aligning. And now, that man feels gone. But let's be clear. She didn't give you confidence. She didn't inject worth into your veins. What she did was reflect a version of you that you were finally proud of. Her belief in you gave you permission to step into your own potential. When she was in your life, you had something to prove, not to her, but to yourself, that you could love without fear, lead without hesitation, show up with direction, not just distraction. But now that she's gone, you don't know where that man went. So you start replaying old conversations, scrolling through photos you promised yourself you'd delete, revisiting those moments in your mind, trying to pinpoint the exact second it all began to unravel. You come up empty. And every time you sink deeper. Not because you miss her arms, but because you miss the man you were in them. Let's go deeper. Even if it's uncomfortable. Maybe she never fully loved you. Maybe she outgrew you. Maybe she left for reasons you'll never understand. That's real. It happens. But none of that changes the fact that you were better when she was around. Not because she completed you, but because you were becoming someone worth being. That's what you truly lost, not her. You lost the edge, the momentum, the clarity that comes with chasing your higher self. That's what men crave more than anything. Direction, purpose, a reason to rise above default mode. And when she walked away, you stopped. You paused your evolution. You disconnected from the man who was starting to believe in himself. That's why it hurts. Not because she took something from you, but because you stopped moving the moment she left. And here's the psychological burn. Your mind isn't haunted by her. It's haunted by the version of you that you haven't finished becoming yet. Your mind knows the truth. It's not her you're obsessed with. It's the message your subconscious has been screaming all along. Your evolution was never meant to depend on a relationship. That version of you, the man you became while she was around, he was real. You weren't pretending. You weren't faking strength. You were finally accessing it. She didn't give it to you. She just happened to be the mirror that reflected it back. Now the mirror is gone, and you're left wondering, can I still be him? Without her gaze, without her presence, without her belief? The answer is yes, but it demands something you've been avoiding. Not another woman, not a new distraction, not external validation. What it takes is internal leadership. Because that man, the grounded, focused, driven man, he was never hers. He was yours. You built him. You called him forward. You gave him discipline, clarity, and purpose. And you can do it again, but only if you stop trying to feel her energy and start reclaiming your own. Only if you stop staring at the place she once stood and start stepping into the future you've been avoiding, the future that demands you lead yourself, without her applause, without her softness, without her belief. Grieve her if you need to. Miss her, that's human. But don't forget, she was never the prize. You are. What you lost wasn't just a person. It was the rhythm, the fire, the vision that made you dangerous again. That's what you must reclaim. Not the girl, not the memories, but the man she awakened inside you. And when you do that, not even her memory can haunt you, because now you see it clearly. She wasn't your soulmate. She was your mirror. She didn't show up to complete you. She showed up to expose you, to reflect every part of yourself you tried to hide, avoid, or deny. You thought being there was enough. You thought affection, attraction, presence would hold it all together. But that wasn't the test. The real test? Were you willing to evolve? To lead with clarity, not reaction? To drop your ego? To build structure, not just offer emotion? Let's be real. She left not because of some story you tell your friends, not because of the version that makes you sound mature. She left because the foundation cracked. Because when the pressure of her standards hit, you weren't ready to carry the weight. Maybe she never said it out loud. Maybe she didn't even know how to explain it. But her silence, it screamed it. Because feminine energy always tests masculine energy, not to break it, but to measure its depth. And when it's shallow, unstable, unsure, she feels it. So she pulls away. And now you're left not with a broken heart, but with a broken connection to the man you could have been. So stop chasing her. Start chasing him, because that's who you're really missing. Let's tell the truth. You didn't fail because you weren't good enough. You failed because you weren't prepared. You weren't grounded. You weren't consistent. You weren't leading with direction. You were reacting to emotions, to fear, to the possibility of losing her. You weren't elevating her. You were just trying not to lose her. And whether she drifted away slowly or walked out in a storm, the result was the same. She left. And with her went your chance to prove you were the man you believed you were becoming. Here's where it gets real. Her leaving wasn't a punishment. It was a consequence. The final page of a test you didn't realize you were taking. Because men don't get to avoid growth without paying a price. The universe doesn't let you stay passive without pulling something from your hands. It doesn't allow you to stay still without making you feel stuck. When you stay soft, indecisive, reactive, the feminine pulls away. It has to. It doesn't matter if she loved you. It doesn't matter how long you were together. She felt it. You weren't stepping into the role you were built to own. So she left. And that's why it cuts so deep. Because somewhere inside, you knew. You felt the shift. You saw the signs. But instead of rising, you held on. Instead of leading, you tried to maintain. And here's the hard truth. Masculinity that maintains dies. It must move. It must build. It must evolve. The moment you stopped growing, the test scored itself. Failed. But here's what most men never realize. Failing the test doesn't mean you failed your life, because the test was never about keeping her. It was about becoming you, the man who doesn't need anyone else to reflect his worth back to him, the man who doesn't chase validation because he leads with vision, the man who doesn't beg for love because he embodies it. This is your second chance, not with her. That chapter is over. This is a second chance with yourself. Now you decide. Will you step into the fire of responsibility? Will you rebuild the discipline you let die? Will you cut off the distractions, silence the excuses, shatter the soft language telling you you're doing your best when deep down you know you're coasting? That man you were becoming, he's not gone. He's not dead. He's buried. And the tools to dig him out aren't in your phone, aren't in your DMs, aren't in hoping she texts you back. The tools are in your discipline, in your stillness, in your willingness to face the parts of yourself that let her down and own them. No shame, no blame, no self-pity. So no, you don't get a do-over with her, but you get something better, a chance to become the man who never needs a second chance again. Never fail that test again. Be the man who leads, not chases, who builds, not begs, who evolves so far beyond who he once was that even her memory has to respect the man she could never hold. This, right now, is your second test. And this time, you don't need her to pass it. You just need you, fully, how to reclaim yourself. Let's get one thing clear. Healing isn't some cute quote on a sunset background. It's not a mantra. It's not a vibe. It's war. A daily battle between the man you were and the man you've been avoiding becoming. You don't reclaim yourself by watching How to Move On videos. You reclaim yourself by brutally removing everything that weakens you. One silent, uncomfortable moment at a time. It starts with what most men fear. Stillness. Not the stillness she left you with. That was absence. That was a void. I'm talking about the stillness you choose. The kind that strips away all the noise, the scrolling, the dopamine hits, the fake validation, the addiction to being seen, heard, and liked. This is the silence that forces you to finally ask the question you've been running from since the day she walked. Who was I becoming when she was in my life? And don't ask that question once. Ask it until your stomach tightens, until your chest aches, until the fantasy burns away and only the truth remains. Because that man, the one she saw potential in, the one who was building, sharpening, leading, he didn't die when she left. He faded because you stopped feeding him, and if you want him back, you have to earn him. That means writing, not on social media, not in a text thread. Just you, a pen, and the truth. Write what you've been avoiding. Write what hurts. Write who you were and why that man disappeared. Then train. Push weight until it burns. Then push again. Remind yourself, you are not fragile. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. Every drop of sweat, every set you didn't want to do, every rep you finished after your mind begged you to quit. That's not just fitness. That's a declaration. I'm back. Then delete. Cut the things that drain you. The vices, the passive habits, the people who make excuses, the apps that numb you, the lies you tell yourself to feel okay when you know you're not. If it softens you, it slows you. If it distracts you, it destroys you. Because you're not just trying to feel better anymore. You're trying to become a weapon, a man with direction, with power, with clarity, a man who doesn't just heal, he transforms. Be the man who doesn't need to recover next time, because he never falls off in the first place. And here's the cold truth. This is not about revenge. If you're trying to level up just so she sees you glowing later, you've already lost. Why? Because she still owns your focus. She still lives rent-free in your ambition. This isn't about making her regret losing you. It's about making sure you never regret losing yourself again. The power isn't in forgetting her. That's childish. That's forced. The real power, the kind that lasts, is in remembering you. Remembering the man you were starting to become before you tied your identity to her validation. Before your fire dimmed under the weight of fear and longing. Before you started chasing what you were always meant to build. And when she crosses your mind, because she will, don't run, don't suppress it, use it, fuel it, let it remind you I have more to do, more to build, more to become. Her memory isn't a curse, it's a compass, but only if you're man enough to face where it points, inward, because reclaiming yourself has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with getting you back. That unapologetic, disciplined, dangerous version of you who forgot just how powerful he really was. Now build him. No more surviving. No more emotional loops. No more holding your breath hoping she texts back. You are the message. You are the closure. You are the comeback. She's not just a memory. She's a lesson. She showed up to reveal the man you could be. And now that she's gone, the lesson remains. You've got two choices. Let that lesson rot into regret, or let it drive your rebirth. You were never mourning her. You were mourning the life you stopped chasing. So chase it again. Better, smarter, stronger, this time for you. Not for her, not for revenge, for the man you promised yourself you'd become.